In love, sometimes the hardest thing isn't saying sorry. It's believing the other person might still want to hear it. Ty looks up, his voice raw now. Every day I was gone, I wanted to come back. I saw your face in every sunrise, heard your voice in every quiet night. I missed your strength, Amy. I missed home. The word home lingers, soft and broken. Amy finally turns her head slightly, her profile outlined by light. Her eyes don't show anger, just exhaustion. The kind that comes from waiting too long for someone who might never return. She doesn't say a word. She just looks at him, steady, unblinking. It's not forgiveness, not yet, but it's not rejection either. It's the first crack in the wall between them. Ty takes one last step forward, his voice lower now, almost a whisper. I can't change what I did. I can't fix the time I stole from us. But if there's any part of you that can still see who I used to be, let me try to make things right. The camera rises slowly as the music swells, a haunting violin melody intertwined with soft piano notes. The scene freezes on the two of them, standing still but somehow closer than they've been in years. For the first time, Ty isn't running. And for the first time, Amy isn't walking away. The wind fades. The screen dips to black, and the faint sound of a heartbeat returns. Next section. Amy's reaction. The silence that speaks. The world seems to hold its breath. The sound of Ty's apology still lingers in the air, trembling like the last note of a song that doesn't want to end. The sky above Heartland glows faintly pink, the sun dipping low behind the hills. Dust floats lazily through the air, catching the light, every speck a reminder of how time has passed and changed everything. Amy doesn't move. Her eyes stay on Ty. But her heart is somewhere between the past and the present, a quiet battlefield where love and hurt fight without words. The camera circles slowly, showing her from behind, then from the side. Her face remains unseen, but her stillness says it all. The narrator's voice breaks the silence, low and reflective. There are moments when silence carries more truth than words ever could. And this is one of them. Amy's hands tighten around the fence. Her knuckles turn pale as the memories rush back. The nights she waited for his call. The mornings she woke up alone. The letters she never sent. Each memory feels like a bruise that never healed. The wind picks up, rustling her hair. She finally exhales. Not a sigh, not relief. But the kind of breath you take when you've been holding pain for too long. Ty's eyes search hers. Desperate for something. Forgiveness. Maybe hope. But Amy's expression doesn't give anything away. The camera zooms in on a single tear that slips down her cheek, silent, unannounced. She quickly wipes it away before he can see. The narrator continues. She wants to hate him. She wants to walk away. But love doesn't disappear just because it's broken. It lingers, soft, stubborn, and uninvited. Amy finally speaks, her voice barely louder than the wind. You left without a word, Ty. Do you know what that does to someone? To not even get a goodbye. Her tone isn't sharp. It's tired, cracked, filled with years of held-back emotion. Ty takes a step forward, but she raises her hand slightly, stopping him. Don't come closer, she says softly. Not yet. The horses in the distance graze quietly, as if even they understand the fragile weight of this moment. The sun slips lower, painting both of them in amber light. Two silhouettes caught between what was and what might still be. Amy continues. I built a life without you. I had to. For me, for Lindy. You don't just show up and expect things to fall back into place. Her words hit like rain on dry earth, sharp but cleansing. Ty lowers his head, accepting them without defense. He knows she's right. The camera focuses on Amy again. Her voice softens, trembling slightly. But when I look at you, I see the man who taught me how to believe in second chances. And I hate that part of me still wants to believe in one. For a moment, the air feels lighter. The music shifts, a faint guitar chord, a sign that something inside her is breaking open. Just a little, the narrator closes the section. Forgiveness doesn't arrive all at once. Sometimes it begins with a tear, and a truth that hurts to say. Amy turns away, looking toward the horizon, the same one Ty once disappeared behind. Her voice barely a whisper now. Don't make me regret hearing you out. The screen fades slowly to the sound of wind moving through the grass. Next section, the cliffhanger. And next episode, T's Amy's choice. The sun has almost vanished now. Heartland is wrapped in the soft glow of twilight, that fleeting moment between light and dark, where everything feels possible and impossible at the same time. The camera glides slowly across the ranch, the horses moving quietly in their stalls, the wind whispering through the trees, and the faint sound of footsteps fading into the distance. Ty stands where Amy left him. His apology still hangs in the air, unanswered, like a question that refuses to fade. The ground beneath him feels heavier than ever. But there's a strange peace in his eyes, the kind comes after finally speaking the truth. The narrator's voice enters, calm and haunting. Sometimes the moment after a storm is more dangerous than the storm itself. Because now comes the silence where choices are made. Cut to Amy walking down the dirt road toward the house. Her steps are slow, each one echoing her thoughts. She glances back once, just once, and in that small movement, everything inside her shifts. She sees Ty still standing there, shoulders low, head bowed. For the first time, he doesn't chase her. He just waits. In the quiet heart of the evening, two people who once shared everything now wait, one for forgiveness, the other for certainty. Amy enters the house. Inside, Lindy's small voice calls out, "Mom?" The sound grounds her, pulls her back into the life she built while Ty was gone. She smiles faintly, wiping away a tear before turning to answer. "Yeah, sweetheart," she says softly. "I'm here." The camera lingers on her face for a moment longer, then pans toward the window. Outside, Ty begins to walk away from the barn. He looks back at the house one last time, whispering to himself, maybe this time, "I'll stay until she's ready." The faintest hint of rain begins again. Almost like the world itself can't decide if it's done crying. The narrator continues. Forgiveness doesn't happen in one sunset. It comes slowly, through days that test you, and nights that remind you why you're still trying. A soft, instrumental track begins, hopeful but fragile. The camera pulls up high above the ranch, showing the golden light fading into blue shadows. Amy sits on the porch now, her arms wrapped around herself. Staring into the horizon, her voice, low and uncertain, breaks the silence. "He's sorry." But is that enough? Cut to black. Text fades in. Next episode, Amy's choice. The music swells. Not dramatic, just aching with possibility. A few final images flash on the screen. Ty working in the barn again, alone. Amy brushing Spartan, lost in thought. A storm cloud building on the horizon. The narrator whispers the final line in Heartland. "Oh, love doesn't end when people break. It ends when they stop trying to heal." The screen fades completely, leaving only the faint sound of a heartbeat, steady, strong, and uncertain all at once. Next section. Closing CTA. The story continues. The screen stays black for a few seconds. The faint sound of wind sweeping over the empty fields of Heartland. Then, slowly, a soft piano note breaks through. One gentle key, followed by another like the heartbeat of the story refusing to stop. A slow fade reveals the ranch once more, quiet, calm, and bathed in moonlight. The fences stretch across the horizon. The horses rest in their stalls. Somewhere inside the house, the light in Amy's room flickers softly. It's peaceful, but it's not over. The narrator's voice returns, calm, warm, and full of quiet strength. Every ending at Heartland is really a beginning. For every tear shed, a new promise is made. For every goodbye, there's always the whisper of another chance. Cut to a slow-motion montage. Ty walking away from the barn, pausing at the fence to look at the stars. Amy sitting by the window, watching the same sky. Lindy sleeping peacefully, clutching a small photo of her parents. The voice continues. Ty spoke the words he should have said years ago. Amy heard them, but forgiveness doesn't bloom overnight. It takes time, courage, and love that refuses to give up. A faint melody rises, hopeful, nostalgic, carrying that unmistakable Heartland feeling of family, loss, and redemption. The ranch glows under the moonlight. The camera rises higher until the entire valley comes into view. Text fades onto the screen. In soft white letters, Heartland, Season 19, the story of healing begins. Then another line appears. Episode 2, Amy's choice coming soon. The narrator's final words echo gently over the music. This is more than a story about love. It's a story about coming home, even when the road back feels impossible. The final piano chord lingers as the screen slowly fades to black dot. Then, in white text, simple and powerful, don't miss what comes next. After a brief pause, the outro begins. The familiar Heartland theme hums softly as on-screen text appears. Subscribe for more Heartland first looks, emotional scenes, and exclusive 2025 previews. Because every heart deserves a second chance. The logo fades in. Heartland Season 1 92025. The sound of a horse neighing in the distance marks the very end. Fade to silence. The sound of a soft breeze moves through the quiet Heartland ranch. The horses stand still. The sky looks heavy, and somewhere in the distance, footsteps crunch over the gravel. A man stops. His voice trembles as he whispers, "I should have never left." The camera slowly pans to show Ty's silhouette against the fading sunset, faceless, but filled with guilt and longing. His eyes seem to carry the weight of every word he never said to Amy. The music swells, a gentle mix of piano and strings as the narration begins. After all these years, Ty returns to Heartland. But this time, he isn't the man who left. He's a man chasing forgiveness. The screen fades to black, leaving the sound of wind and the faint echo of a horse neigh. The first words appear, Heartland, Season 19. Episode 1, Ty's emotional apology to the morning at Heartland feels different. The sun rises the same way. The ranch still hums with life, but for Amy, every sound carries a memory. She stands by the fence, watching Spartan graze, lost in thought. Her hand rests gently on the worn wood, and for a moment her eyes close, remembering how things used to be before Ty walked away. Ty, on the other side of the field, watches her from afar. He hasn't spoken to her since that night, the night they both broke without saying goodbye. His heart beats faster with every step she takes, and yet he can't move closer. The distance between them isn't just a few steps. It's years of pain, silence, and regret. The voiceover continues softly. Sometimes love doesn't end with words. Sometimes it just fades into the space between two people who were once everything to each other. Ty lowers his head, pulling out an old photo, one of Amy laughing beside him, back when life was simpler. His hands shake as he traces her face on the paper. "How did we end up here?" He whispers. A gust of wind carries dust across the ground. The camera pans across the ranch, the horses, the barn, the open sky. Everything seems peaceful, but inside Ty's heart there's a storm. He knows he came back for one reason, to tell her the truth, but he's not sure if she'll listen. Amy senses something. She turns slightly, her eyes meeting his from across the field. The moment freezes, no words, no movement, just two souls standing on opposite sides of a broken story. The music slows, heavy with emotion. The narration builds, when time keeps you apart. The hardest thing isn't forgetting. It's finding the courage to face what's left. Ty finally takes a deep breath. He starts walking toward her, slow, careful, afraid that one wrong word might shatter what little is left between them. Amy doesn't move. Her eyes stay fixed on him, as if she's unsure whether to walk away or wait. The sound of footsteps, the rustling of leaves, and the distant neigh of a horse. Everything grows louder. Ty stops just a few feet away. The camera lingers on his hands, rough, tense, trembling. He opens his mouth to speak, but the words don't come. The narrator closes the section. In the quiet heart of Heartland, silence speaks louder than any apology. But every story of forgiveness has to start somewhere, and for Ty, this is the first step. Amy. The camera drifts over the golden fields of Heartland, where morning dew glistens on the grass like tiny memories refusing to fade. A soft instrumental hum plays, not sad, not hopeful, just caught somewhere in between. The narrator's voice enters, gentle but heavy, like the calm before a storm. Season 19 begins not with a new chapter, but with an unfinished one. Heartland still stands tall, but the people inside it are carrying ghosts. Amy walks through the barn, brushing her hand over a saddle, the same one Ty once fixed years ago. She doesn't say anything, but her silence tells a story. Every creak of the wood, every rustle of hay, reminds her of what's missing. There's a quiet strength in her, the kind that comes from learning to heal when life keeps reopening old wounds. Meanwhile, Ty returns to the edge of the ranch, his boots kicking up dust from the same path he left behind seasons ago. He's been away, chasing answers that didn't exist, trying to forget the sound of Amy's voice calling after him. But memory has a cruel way of following you home. The voiceover continues softly. Heartland isn't just a place. It's the weight of every promise ever made under its sky. And Ty's promise, the one he broke, still hangs in the air. A shot of the old house fades in. Inside, photos of Amy, Lindy, and Ty line the walls, frozen smiles from a time before everything fell apart. Amy glances at them briefly, her hand brushing across one picture. She hesitates, then turns it face down. Cut to Ty standing outside, looking at that same window from the yard. He knows she's inside, and yet it feels like miles separate them. The voice of his past echoes flashbacks of laughter, of soft arguments, of "I'll always come back," words that once meant everything. He told her he'd never leave. But life has a way of testing the strongest hearts. The music swells as the camera pans upward to the wide Alberta sky. Endless, unforgiving. A storm brews in the distance, clouds rolling over the mountains. It mirrors what's coming, not just in weather, but in emotion. Amy steps outside, her expression unreadable. The air between them tightens. Ty looks like he wants to speak, but instead he lowers his eyes. The camera moves in close, not on their faces, but on their hands. Hers clenched. His shaking, the narrator's tone deepens. This is where the story begins again, not with love, but with regret. Not with words, but with everything left unsaid. A slow zoom on the ranch sign, Heartland worn, weathered, yet still standing strong, fade to black. In season 19, forgiveness isn't given, it's earned. The faint sound of rain begins to fall, leading into the next section, Ty's inner conflict. The screen fades in from black. The rain that began moments ago now falls harder, drumming gently against the roof of the barn. The world outside is quiet, too quiet, and Ty stands alone inside, leaning against the wooden beam that once felt like home. His clothes are damp, his hair tousled, and his hands grip the edge of a table as if it's the only thing keeping him steady. The camera doesn't show his face, only his shadow moving in the dim light. Every small movement, the tightening of his fist, the heavy rise of his chest tells us everything his silence hides. The narrator's voice enters, slow and heavy. Sometimes the hardest fight isn't against the world. It's against the voice in your own head that says you don't deserve to come back. Ty exhales deeply. In his mind, Amy's voice still echoes, "You promised." The word repeats like thunder rolling through the valley. He remembers the day he left, convincing himself it was for her own good, that walking away would spare her pain. But now, standing here again, he realizes the truth. Leaving didn't protect her. It only broke them both. He takes a seat on an old stool by the workbench. There's a half-fixed horseshoe in front of him, something he started years ago. The rust tells the story of how long he's been gone. He picks it up, turning it in his hand. The camera zooms in, showing his knuckles trembling. He built fences, fixed saddles, healed animals, but he never learned how to mend the heart he broke. Lightning flashes across the window. For a moment, his reflection appears older, tired, and burdened. The rain masks the tears that fall freely now. The sound design layers the rain with faint whispers and Amy's laughter. Lindy's small giggle. Echoes of a life that slipped through his fingers. Ty mutters under his breath. I thought time would fix it, but it only made the silence louder. The narrator continues, his voice softer now, almost like a whisper meant only for Ty. Every apology begins long before it's spoken. It begins in the quiet, where guilt grows and memories won't let go. The horses in the stable shift uneasily, sensing the tension in the air. Ty moves toward Spartan's stall. The horse nudges him gently, as if recognizing an old friend. Ty smiles faintly, the first sign of warmth breaking through the storm. He places a hand on Spartan's mane. "You remember her, don't you?" he says softly. "She was always stronger than me." For a brief moment, the light outside flickers. The clouds begin to part just slightly. It's subtle, but it feels like hope. The narrator closes the section. Ty's war isn't with Amy, it's with himself, the man he became when he stopped believing he could be forgiven. But even in the darkest storm, there's always one step toward light. The rain slows. The screen fades to the sound of a heartbeat, steady and growing stronger. Next section, the apology scene, the words he never said. The storm has passed, but the air still carries its weight. The sky above Heartland glows pale gold as the sun breaks through the clouds. The kind of light that makes everything look fragile and new. The barn doors creak open. Ty steps out, slow and unsure. The sound of his boots pressing against wet gravel echoing in the silence. Amy stands near the paddock, her back turned, her hair catching the wind. She doesn't need to look at him to know he's there. The silence between them feels alive, thick with the things they've both been avoiding. The narrator's voice enters, soft and measured. Some words are too heavy to carry, but too painful to keep inside. Ty has waited years to speak them, and Amy has waited just as long to hear them. He stops a few feet away. The camera captures the tension, two silhouettes in the open field, divided by nothing but pride and history. Ty takes a breath. His voice trembles, breaking the stillness. "Amy." He hesitates, the word catching in his throat. "I thought I was doing the right thing when I left. I thought leaving would protect you from me, from my mistakes, from everything that was falling apart.